So I'd like to welcome everybody very much to our weekly interfaith meeting by Zoom, which is live streamed on YouTube. And this is meeting number 248. A little later, I'll properly introduce our speaker, Professor Pal Dal, who will talk about the teachings of Satya Sai Baba. So I'm really looking forward to that. Just a reminder that we aim, as far as possible, to start with unity. And then where there's, instead of starting with difference, look for a point of unity. And then different perspectives can overlap and we maintain our unity that way. I think everyone's got their name up, that's good. And maybe be muted if you're not talking. And according to these principles of Dr. Leonard Swidler, the primary purpose is to learn. So of course, we all have something to share, but tonight we're learning from the presenter. And I think we've covered everything. So I'd just like to invite Tracy to acknowledge the Indigenous people.
Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge I'm coming from Worimi People's Country, and like other Indigenous people, they invite us to do acknowledgement of country because they're inviting us into a deeper relationship with the land, with the waters, the sky. And we're reminded that First Nations people were directed by the Creator to be good custodians. And they are wishing that we can inherit that as we live on the lands where there's been thousands of generations of ceremony and relationship. And they're actually inviting us into the memory of those relationships. We all love nature, but we can go into a deeper relationship. And there's different stories about the Creator throughout the continent, but that's because the way First Peoples' knowledge is passed on is through the physical features as a part of memory, and being able to connect to a physical feature enables the story to be continued on. But the purpose is to have that obedience to the law, to be good custodians, and to pass that on to future generations, to do it ourselves, to participate in that deeper relationship. And as we care for country, which is our mother, we are cared for more deeply too. So I want to acknowledge that the elders have been able to maintain that teaching for over 1,000 generations, which is remarkable. You try to get something going down more than 4 generations. So it's a feat that we should respect, and we respect the past elders and the current elders, and we support that the knowledge will continue on into future generations. Thank you. And I acknowledge that you're probably on Wangal or Gadigal or Ku-ring-gai or many other nations' country, but we all have one spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
so replete with grace, whose knowledge doth mine inmost heart and soul embrace. At morn the solace of my soul is none but thee, the knower of mine ardent goal is none but thee. The heart that for a moment hath thy mention known will seek no balm save longing pain for thee alone. Withered be the heart that sigheth not for thee, and better blind the eye that crieth not for thee. In all mine hours of deepest gloom, O Lord of mine, my heart hath thy remembrance for a shining light. Do through thy favor breathe thy spirit into me, that what hath never been may thus forever be. Consider not our merit and our worth, O Lord of bounty, but the grace thou pourest forth upon these broken winged birds, whose flight is slow. Out of thy tender mercy new-found wings bestow.
The divinities rejoice when somebody's happiness owes another's sacrifice given voluntarily. Hindu writings, Upanishad. There is none other who does greater good than the one who removes the hunger of those in a difficult situation, helpless, weak, and disturbed. Hindu writings, Mahabharata.
I praise with my thoughts, word, and action, good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. I entertain all good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. I shun all evil thoughts, evil words, and evil deeds. Ya Amshah Pant, offer your praise and homage with my thoughts, words, and actions, with my conscience, with my very body and soul. Zoroastrian writings, Yasna 11.
So long as the sky and the world exist, my existence will be here for the eradication of the miseries of all beings. Let me suffer all the sufferings of beings, and let the world be happy and liberated by dint of all merits of me, the Bodhi Sattva, Buddhist writings.
And now, O Israel, what does the Lord your God demand of you? Only this, to revere the Lord your God, to walk only in his paths, to love him, and to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, keeping the Lord's commandments and laws, which I enjoin upon you today for your good. Jewish writings.
This is what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. If anyone has material possessions and sees his brother in need, but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with the action and in truth. Christian writings.
They ask you, O prophet, in what they should donate. Say whatever donation you give are from the parents, relatives, orphans, the poor, the needy, travelers. Whatever good you do is certainly well known to Allah. Islamic writing, the Quran.
If you meet the abased or the downtrodden, turn not away disdainfully from them, for the King of glory ever watcheth over them, and surroundeth them with such tenderness as none can fathom. Flee not from the face of the poor that lieth in the dust. Nay, rather, befriend him, and suffer him to recount the tale of woes with which God's inscrutable decree hath caused him to be afflicted. Whilst ye consort with him, the concourse on high will be looking upon you, will be interceding for you, will be extolling your names and glorifying your action. Baha'i Writings, Baha'u'llah.
Joy, 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 joy is in the air. Love, 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 love is everywhere. Listen, listen, all created things. Listen, listen, all created things. Joy, 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 joy is in the air. Joy, 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 joy is everywhere.
Thank you very much to the readers, and that concludes the devotional part of our program with Interfaith Readings. And now, my very great pleasure to welcome our speaker for tonight. Professor Pal Dal is a surgeon whose life and work have been transformed by the divine guidance of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Formerly Professor of Surgery, University of Nairobi, senior surgeon at Canberra Hospital, visiting fellow at ANU University, adjunct professor in bioethics at Canberra University, and honorary professor Ricardo Palma University in Peru. As chair of Zone 3 countries of the International Satya Sai Organization and chair of Education Committee of the International Sai Organization, he advanced Bhagavan's mission through global education in human values. And it's my very great pleasure to welcome Professor Paldal to talk about the teachings of Satya Sai Baba. Welcome.
First of all, I would like to, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
First of all, I'd like to thank Vasanta for her perseverance in pursuing me to participate in this gathering, which is very elevating of what I've heard today. Thank you very much, Vasanta. Thank you, the organizers, for giving me this moment to share with you my enthusiasm for the teachings of Satya Sai Baba. I think the focus that I would like to make is on the universal message that he gives, which is very relevant to the times that we are living. So just to give you a brief idea of my own background, I come from a Hindu background, but very much open, and I'm married to a Muslim, practicing Muslim, and I have lived really most of my life in Christian countries. So I have a very deep feeling for trans-religious spirituality, the common denominator of all the faiths. Now, I've been a follower of Satya Sai Baba's teachings for some 38 years. And as you have just mentioned, I've held international office bearer positions. So I'll share with you the core of his teachings. There are 26,000 pages of his writing and of his discourses. My focus will be tonight on his universal message, which is relevant to us on an everyday basis. So I regard his message as the very foundational hope for the humanity, for a prosperous and peaceful future. Now, he was born in 1926 in a remote village in Puttaparthi, which was not even on the map. From childhood, he showed a deep compassion for suffering. He had enormous wisdom, and he was able to create and display tremendous spiritual powers. His fundamental mission, and we will talk about his values, mission later on, is to awaken humanity to its divine nature and to restore human values. What I've just heard in the various readings are basically voices of human values: love, peace, truth, kindness, compassion, right conduct. And basically that's what human values are, but I will amplify them a little bit. He has followers from all the faiths around the world, and he has Sai centers in most nations around the world. I will focus a little bit towards the end on the enduring legacy that he has left behind of numerous institutions and a very vital organization. Now, what is the challenge for us, the cause of our time? Humanity is suffering from a tremendous challenge in terms of its ecological challenges, social challenges, financial challenges, wars, religious intolerance, a youth that is out of control and full of agony. So there are lots of challenges, and the futurologists have said that unless we correct our course, there's a good chance that humanity as a species will not survive beyond the 21st century. This is from notable futurologists in England, in the United States, in many countries. So there is a growing need for spiritual unity and compassionate action. I think that that is the call of our time, because there is no other system under which we can develop a consciousness that is going to be responsible enough to be able to act in a way that will solve the current focus on numerous challenges that are coming together. So Sai Baba offered a message that is timeless, that is universal, and that in fact is very practical. For the religions, he said there's only one religion, the religion of love. One caste, the caste of humanity, and one God who is omnipresent. That is his message for the various religions. Now, around the world, people in all faiths and cultures are searching for deeper meaning, peace, and unity. I will focus on him as a spiritual teacher rather than as a reformer, which he was, a social reformer. I'll mention that briefly. And his life has touched millions. And as I've said, his profound message is love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. He did not establish a new religion. I think it's very important to know that. His teachings are not religious in nature, they are spiritual in nature. He reminded us of an eternal truth. And this is the truth, that the divinity resides within every individual, in every heart, and in every atom, in every subatomic particle of creation. And love is the core of that divinity. That is his central message. Now, how this is applied, how this is rolled out in our daily life and in our institutions is something that I'll touch on. What is his vision, mission, and values? It is really basically transforming an individual and collective lives through love. He had the vision of birth of a new humanity, a humanity that will embrace a paradigm leap in consciousness. We call ourselves Homo sapiens sapiens. Sapiens means wise. So why do we say we are twice wise, Homo sapiens sapiens? First of all, we share a consciousness with all beings. That is, that we are aware of our environment. But human beings are aware of their inner environment, of the state of their consciousness. And not only that, they can orchestrate the growth of that consciousness. Einstein said that we cannot solve the problems from the level of consciousness where the problem has arisen. We have to go to a higher level of consciousness to resolve the problem that has arisen at one level of consciousness. And this is what Sai Baba's vision is, that we will embrace a paradigm leap of consciousness. And that will be the true remedy for the peril of human self-destruction and mass extinction of countless species that is in front of us. He asked the question, and this is the vital question, which a number of spiritual masters have asked: who am I? What is I? And he says, you're not one, you're three. The one that I identify myself is my body, my profession, I'm a surgeon. My trade, I am a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a businessman. Or my feeling, I am sad, I am unhappy, I am happy, I am joyous. So we identify with our body, but that is not us. That's one aspect of us. Secondly, people identify with our state of mind. You know, they look at us in terms of what is happening in our mind, who we are, what we represent in their mind. But he says that really what we are, who am I, is a divine human being in a divine creation. Sai Baba awakened humanity to its divine nature. And he says that if we are going to become divine, then we have to restore it through the practice of human values. What are these human values? I'll come to briefly later on. He has given his message as, my life is my message. He came from a very poor background, showed self-sufficiency. He was, at one stage, people tried to kill him. He forgave them. He did not seek revenge. He had all the wealth in the world, but he lived simply. He did not take a day off, but worked every single day, 7 days a week. And he lived to the age of 84, 85 without any break. So he said, my life is my message. And he conducted his life through living the 5 human values, which I'll define later on. He said the divine love is to be expressed through selfless action in every aspect of our lives, in our homes, in our schools, in our professions, in trades, business, corporate sector, government, leadership. In every institution, we must bring in selfless action. And selfless action is really not directed to others as much as to our own spiritual development. He did not, I'll again emphasize, establish any new religion. He simply said that for a Hindu to become a better Hindu, for a Muslim to become a better Muslim, for a Christian to become a better Christian is important. So he focused on renewal of the spirit in all the faiths rather than any conversion or any religion. Now, these are the human values which are the foundation for a good human life. He says there are 5 human values, and as an educator, I must say that I resonate very deeply with this. Truth, right conduct, peace, love, and nonviolence. These correspond to the various domains of our personality. For example, truth is the intellectual domain. We seek for truth. Whether we read the newspaper to look at the news, whether we watch the television, whether we are talking with somebody and saying how you are, we are always seeking for the truth. But that's the external truth. There's an internal truth. The internal truth is to live in alignment with our own conscience. That is to have integrity of thought, word, and deed, so that we are fully human when we have harmony of head, hand, and heart. Secondly, right conduct, which in Sanskrit is called dharma. It's ethical living, doing what is right, not what is convenient. We often do what is convenient for us rather than what is right for us. And he says, do all your duties sincerely and selflessly. That, in fact, doing the duty sincerely and selflessly is really worship. The third value, he said, is peace, which corresponds to our emotional domain, because we feel pain in our anxiety, emotional upset in our emotional domain. So he says, inner calm through self-discipline, control of desires. Peace is within, not outside. He says outside is pieces, but peace is within. So we have to still our thoughts, and we have to focus on serenity and on the voice of God that we can all hear as our conscience. The next value, he says, is love, and we have just heard songs about love. Unconditional, selfless love that seeks the divine in all beings. He says that there is no particle in this creation which is not full of divinity, so that it's unconditional, selfless love that we can utilize to see the divinity in all beings, in everything. Whether it's a tree or an ant or a human being, we can use the divine identity that they have. So love is the source, love is the path, love is the goal. It's not only the source, it's the path, and it's also the goal. And finally, the value of nonviolence. Oh, yeah. This love corresponds to our social domain and non-violence to our spiritual domain. So it's not just non-violence directed at each other. You know, he says the tongue and the animals have the horns and the claws and the teeth to inflict injury. Human beings have the soft tongue to inflict equally deep injury. So non-violence is harmlessness in thought, word, and deed. He says, do not hurt others. Instead, help everyone to the extent possible. The idea of non-violence is extended to non-violation of the elements as well. Non-violation of water, non-violation of earth, non-violation of minerals, non-violation of vegetable life. So the transition for these 5 human values, these are not just abstract ideals. They are the very essence of human excellence. And they can guide us in our family life, in our community, in creating harmony and global peace. Now, I can say when we come to education, I'll talk about that in a minute, that we have developed modules in many, many areas of life where we can use these 5 values to bring in a renewal of understanding at a deeper level, at a spiritual level, in the institutions that we have. I'll come to that in a moment. Now, as an educator, my deep love is for education. And the one aphorism he has said, the end of education is character. Now, we all go to schools, we have all been through the universities and educational establishments. What do we remember about education? What do we remember about our learning? We don't remember as much as we remember the living character of the teachers, the living character of the other children that were with us or the youth that were with us. So the end of education is character. He says that there's 2 kinds of knowledge. There's spiritual knowledge and secular knowledge. Our schools give us the capacity to earn a livelihood with dignity, with skills that are necessary for a nation to survive. But that's not the end of education. He says that there is a deeper, richer source within education that is missing. And that was there in the ancient systems of education, which is the education in human values. He says the knowledge we acquire from the study of subjects is technical knowledge, but we need practical knowledge, how to navigate our way through life with dignity, with happiness, with joy, creating joy for others, creating joy for ourselves, and advancing ourselves spiritually. So he says, study of the books is artificial knowledge, but not wisdom. Wisdom is born through an inner vision. So he cultivates our inner vision. We have to look within. And education he defines as educare. Educare is drawing out from the children, from the youth, their intrinsic divinity, their intrinsic goodness, their intrinsic nature of selflessness, of empathy, of love. So there is a formal, non-formal, and informal system of education, which he has created a seamless integration in all these systems of education. The core curriculum is integrated with human values. His focus is on the unity of head, hand, and heart. That means that we have to have integrity within our very soul. And the driver of that is the voice of God within, which is conscience. So that we can cultivate conscience, we can cultivate willpower, that is to overcome the inertia of sloppiness, laziness, and discernment, that is making the right choices, which will advance us spiritually in life, which will advance us socially in life, but not at the expense of untruth. So he has established a network of free schools, colleges, and universities. And that was my main area of activity within the Sai organization. There are over 100 free schools in India. And there are 43 international Satya Sai schools, including one in Australia. It's full education, given totally free. It's private education given free, highest quality of education. Many of these schools around the world have gained tremendous recognition in their education systems. And many countries are turning to these schools to reviving their educational systems. Recently, we were in touch with Ecuador. The government there is turning to the Satya Sai school in Ecuador and trying to bring similar values in the entire educational sector. There are many colleges he has established and universities. There are around the world 32 institutes of Satya Sai education and human values, including one in Australia. And these institutes create the models of how we can bring values into education and integrate mainstream curricular education with human values. Now, there are many schools that have become partnership schools. That is, they are government schools with government teachers, but they adopt or become partners in bringing in education human values in their schools. We have several schools in Australia which are doing that, or which have done that with our assistance. The best example was a school in Cherbourg, an old Aboriginal school, which was in a very, very sad state. It was a primary school located in a community without any enterprise. There was high suicide rate amongst the youth. There was a lot of family violence. There was a lot of alcohol abuse and child abuse as well. We were asked to bring in our model values into that school. And within 2 years, the school transformed. The principal of the school was recognized as Queenslander of the Year. The Central University, Central Queensland University, located its research unit in the school. And the teacher that was our main link, who was supervising the education human values, was one of the 6 top teachers awarded as the recognized state educators. So there are partnership schools like this all over the world. Many, many very, 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 very important schools. For example, in one country, in Colombia, one of the top private schools invited us to hold a workshop there, and we have adopted human values as the main integrated human values. This is the top school, like the Sydney Grammar School, producing the national leaders in the future. Many universities we have worked with, technical colleges and universities, and they have asked us, the students have asked us to bring in human values programs into the university. So there are very many models of education in human values, which we call EHV, in schools, for children, for youth, for parents. We have ourselves developed a program in human values for parents, which has been very successful, which has not been successful in the community, but even psychotherapists have adopted that program for value counseling. So, for example, education human values models we have developed for the police in Mexico. Education human values we developed for the municipal council in Ecuador. So there are these models that are available based on the 5 human values, based on Satya Sai Baba's teachings, which are now transforming education and therefore the future of this planet, because the children and the youth will be the leaders in the future. I want to turn briefly to healthcare as a surgeon. Again, I'm very moved by his establishment of hospitals and free medical clinics in many, many parts of the world. He says service to man is service to God. Selfless service is not just service rendered from a position of strength and superiority for the people who are needy. Selfless service is rendered for our own spiritual benefit. It has got both the benefit to the recipient, but bigger benefit to the deliverer of selfless service. In India, there are 2 super specialty hospitals that are totally free, one in Puttaparthi, one in Bangalore, that do top-level surgery in any area that you want, advanced cardiac, neurological, orthopedic care, entirely free of charge. He regards healing as an act of selfless love, not of commerce. He inspired thousands of doctors and volunteers all around the world, and now there are clinics and maternity hospitals in many parts of the world, like, for example, in Fiji. Recently, there's a big hospital that was established for free work. There are volunteer programs of healthcare in many countries. For example, from Australia, we take teams of doctors and render service in Fiji. Then there is the whole area of international disaster relief operations, which has been promoted by Satya Sai Baba, and it has become a regular feature of Satya Sai organization. Whenever there's an earthquake or flood, Satya Sai organization is the first one to arrive there, and often it's the last one to leave. After the newspapers stop writing about the disaster, they are still there for sometimes many years. He has also undertaken massive water projects, the gift of life. In parts of India, the government had not provided clean water, and he undertook massive water projects in states like Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka, and provided safe drinking water for 700 villages. This enterprise was funded completely by his trust at no cost to the recipients, no cost to the government. So it's a model of social transformation through compassionate action, through love. Gift of water is gift of life. And now, as a result, water projects have been launched in many countries, particularly in Africa, rural areas where there was no water. The Sai organization there has created water projects to bring this blessing, the gift of water, to the people who didn't have clean water. Next, I want to move to religion. He says, let the glory of God be sung in many languages and in a variety of tunes. He's not against. He does not want for the religions to feel that there is any inferiority or superiority in any one religion. He says all religions lead to the same goal, and that is to the divine goal. Spirituality is the common pathway. Followers of religion should deepen their own faith. Each should practice his religion sincerely, so that a Hindu becomes a better Hindu, a Muslim a better Muslim, a Christian a better Christian, and a Jew a better Jew. Now, the Sai emblem here includes the symbol of all the major faiths of the world. So there's Hindu, Buddhist, Parsi, Jewish, Muslim, Christianity. Let the different faiths exist. Let them flourish. He says the terminology may be different, but the concept is the same. Spirituality is the common denominator. He says respect the differences between faiths and recognize them as valid pathways as long as they do not extinguish the flame of unity. Moving on, selfless service. He demonstrated through his personal life how to deliver selfless service. He says all acts of selfless service done for others are in fact service to God. He says hands that help are holier than lips that pray. He says selfless service purifies the heart, and we need to purify the heart in order for God to take residence in our heart. I've already mentioned that selfless service is providing disaster relief, establishing medical camps, feeding programs, educational initiatives in schools, in communities, in public and private institutions. He says, undertake selfless service for your own spiritual uplift. It is not just for the benefit of the recipient. Selfless service transforms the giver and the receiver alike. He says that we should render service, selfless service, with gratitude for being given the opportunity to grow in our inner domain. Now, let me go from this focus on external, on health, on education, on projects, on water project, and other projects. He says, what is the inner journey? What is the inner meaning of all the things that he has talked about? True transformation is inner awakening, is developing an inner vision and diligently exploring our own highest potential. That is treading the spiritual path. And that can only happen through inner awakening, that is transforming. In the song that was, in one of the sayings that were read, was that love should not be from the lips and the tongue, but it should be from the heart. And this is what he's basically saying, developing an inner vision and diligently exploring our highest potential. You're not the body, not the mind. You're the divine self. Now, it is very easy to say that, but very difficult to practice. Very difficult to remember that when I'm talking with my wife, I am talking with divinity. When I'm talking with somebody who's being angry with me, that the person who's being angry with me is giving me a message from the divinity. Very, very hard to practice that, but that's what he's asking. I think spirituality, I think one of our prime ministers said, life is not meant to be easy. I don't believe that spirituality is meant to be easy. It is joy, it is fun, but it is also very confrontational. Unity of thought, word, and deed is spirituality in action. That means we have to have the internal harmony of head, hand, and heart. We have a feeling of goodness. It must find expression in our thoughts and in our speech and also in our actions. Spiritual practices such as meditation, self-inquiry, and loving selfless service are the means to realization. These are methods. These are not ends in themselves. So how do we live his message? He says, start each day with gratitude. Speak truthfully, act ethically, serve joyfully. Again, easy to say, but we have to really be mindful to live this. See divinity in all beings, live in the divine presence. To be living in the divine presence with humility and gratitude. Love is the source, love is the path, love is the goal. So basically, his message is one of love, love in action. He says, start the day with love, fill the day with love, end the day with love. That is the way to God. So continuously living in a frame, in a consciousness of love, and doing all our actions with humility, with joy, and with mindfulness is the way to God. So he has left behind an enduring legacy. He passed on in 2011, but the Satya Sai organization carries on his message. There are Satya Sai centers in over 100 countries at present, active centers. Satya Sai institutions, which I said, schools, water projects, medical camps, Sai centers, they continue to serve millions worldwide. The Satya Sai Central Trust sustains global education programs, health and water projects, and his message inspires unity, selfless service, and spiritual transformation all around the planet. So finally, to end it, what are the takeaway overviews? Values like truth, peace, love, and nonviolence help us live with integrity and compassion. All religions ultimately promote unity in diversity, harmony, inspire respect for different beliefs. Serving others selflessly demonstrates love in action and encourages compassion. And recognizing our divine nature and cultivating inner peace leads to personal growth and fulfillment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. That was very clear and well presented. Can I ask you to stop sharing, and that way the YouTube will show the whole group. Wonderful. All right, look, that was excellent. And after all these years, we've only had 2 or 3 Sai Baba representatives, and one was about 6 weeks ago, where we got a kind of a close-up view of service in the neighborhood, and that was very impressive. But you've additionally given us a global view of the service which the organization, Set the Sai organization, provides in many different contexts around the world, as well as in a sense, drawing out the essential unity of all the religions and building on that framework. It sounds like a genuine interfaith organization, really something impressive. Are you happy to stay on for half an hour and answer questions?
Sure, yes.
Okay, so anyone with any questions, please don't hesitate to use the reaction button to put your hand up and form an orderly queue. Okay, we've got 2. That makes a queue. Right, Yung, you're first.
Thank you, Professor, for your wonderful lecture. Your religion, you got any work collaboration with Red Cross? And did your organization provided any scholarships for disadvantaged students or pupils? And with the health area, the medical area, you have any statistics that when people go into medical treatment, will they die faster when they go through the treatment, or they die slowly? And if they die slowly, is that good? Or if they die faster, what can happen to them? Because now the cemetery in our place here all filled up. You have no land for the dead anymore to bury them.
I think there are 3 questions here. Can I just get clarity? I didn't quite follow the first 2 questions. The last one I did follow about death. But can I just have clarity on the first question one at a time?
Yes, please, yes.
What was your first question?
The first question that is I understood that Red Cross, they play their role very closely to religious group or any groups that talk about the care for the community.
Okay, Red Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't work with the Red Cross. Sai Baba said that we have to work independently. So it's the largest voluntary organization in the world. Voluntary organization, not paid. We don't ask for any donations whatsoever. Anybody who undertakes work in the Sai organization has to dig into their own pocket. So we don't collaborate often with NGOs. We are an NGO that is recognized by the United Nations. So that's question number 1.
Yes.
The second question was about some education.
Yes.
Can you just
say, talk about human values here. We need to have truth, right conduct, peace, love, nonviolence. And you know, in the real life, people tend to be more diplomatic than telling the truth. by social media, you know, if people look at the social media, they say people greeted each other more like a diplomatic level. The peace and love and non-violence, nowadays, the families, they get divorces like nearly 50% of all the marriage. So that will make you very disappointed, isn't it?
No, not at
No.
all.
Okay, so that is how we can see in a good light. That will be the growth.
No, what we
Because-
said is humanity is currently facing all these challenges.
Yes, that's correct. And
Right.
what I'm saying, if we want to educate the young kids later on not to divorce and everything I talk about education in general, then people like in a normal way, the rich people will provide scholarship to the poor. The poor children, they don't have, especially now, you know, their house, they lost a parent in the wartime, the building have been bombed, they have nowhere to study, they stay in a camp, refugee camp. So actually human life now have been moving backward instead of moving forward.
I
So
think that is
therefore-
the problem. You see, that is the challenge that we are facing.
So the education, I mean,
We can't get, no,
if
excuse
you can,
me.
if you
We
can take
cannot-
100 kids.
Yeah, I'm sorry, can you allow the professor to speak? Thanks, Jan.
We cannot get overwhelmed by the disasters that are there. What we are saying is that there is a way to solve these disasters. There is a program we have for family that brings family together and not go to divorce. There are ways in which we can enable children to strive personally to better educate themselves. You know, what we are doing is solution-oriented programs, looking at what are the deficits in the community, and then actually working together with the community to put a program. For example, we have made a program on women empowerment in Latin American countries. We have made a program for youth development, for a positive youth development program. Here we had a U-turn school, which looked at the children who were at risk of educational failure and providing them with support so that they could go back into education. We had a program in Melbourne for children who were actually drug dependent, for them to actually come off the drugs. We have programs in other parts of the world for prisoners, so that when they come out of the prisons, they don't go back into more crime. We are providing solutions. We are not getting overwhelmed with the challenges. We are actually working with the challenges. I think it will be very wrong to get overwhelmed by the challenges. We have created the challenges as human beings, and we can solve them. But we have got to go to a higher level of consciousness to solve them. We can't live at the same level. And that is the message of spirituality that Sai Baba is giving. In fact, that is the message of spirituality for anyone, any religion. I don't know whether I've given you satisfaction with this answer, but that's the answer.
I'm talking about the children in a poor country overseas. How are we going to get a scholarship for them to take them into...
You don't need a scholarship. You don't need a scholarship. You need to work with the children to enable them. And you need to work with the school system to not be focused on money, to be focused on the care that they can provide, the service that they can provide. The schools are about service to the community. Schools are not about money. So what we work with the schools to rectify, we say that we are reculturing the schools with values. Right? I gave you the example with the poor children in Cherbourg who were not performing in schools, teachers who were not motivated. We worked with them to make that a first-class school in 3 years. In 3 years, they had the capacity to compete with the local other schools and beat them at their scholarship level. And they were a school that was completely run down with broken windows, children coming sometimes in the morning and sometimes not in the afternoon, and sometimes not coming at all, parents who couldn't care less about the children. That became a vibrant community. Human values have the capacity to transform humanity. Every human being longs for meaning and purpose. And the meaning and purpose is connecting with their inner divine self. That is the message that the Sai Baba has given us. And that is the message that we take to the community.
The social media said to rebuild the country that war torn, and we need to rebuild the country. We need 800 or something billion American dollars. And now you say that we don't need money to do anything.
Well, anybody who is dependent on social media should really look at themselves. Social media is not worth paying attention to and spending a lot of time on. There is some value in social media, but a lot of social media is just entertainment and waste of time.
That's a TV. That's an see.
Colin, you are on the mute.
All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Thank you, Yung. That was excellent answers to those questions. The question of death, maybe you could explain a little bit later. I just want to make sure we get through the questions we have.
I'll answer that right now as a surgeon. There is a distinction between operation list and assassination list. We don't assassinate patients. We don't kill them. We heal them. And healing can happen even with people suffering terminal illness. Healing is different from curing. Healing is to connect with the spirit. So a dying person can die in peace. If they are dying, we all have to die one day. But when we are dying, are we dying with peace and hope? Or are we dying depression and fear? Right? So that's the choice we have. Now, what we do is to enable people to live a life of serenity and peace and submission to the divine will. And as far as the land is concerned, why not cremate people if you're short of land? What's wrong with cremation? After all, your only body being recycled, your soul is eternal.
Thank you. Ahmed, your turn.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Professor Dal. That was very nice presentation and giving insight about Sai Baba's teachings. I like the section where it says, where you said that these concepts have to come from grassroots, and it has to come in various places, and it's happening, as you said. And that's a concept that the Baha'is also believe that has to happen in order for a transformation in the world. So I'm wondering, my question would be about human values and the foundation of good human life and society. I believe that there is another group of people that talk about human virtues. And I thought that perhaps these are very similar, the concepts that you presented and the concepts that they present. And I'm just wondering, what was Sai Baba's thoughts about origin of these values, these concepts? Is it from God? Is it from teachers, the founders of the religion? Or he brought these concepts himself?
Okay, this is a very important question.
Yeah.
Very, very important question. I think that we are faced with the education system all the time. Because the education system in the Western country, parents don't want their children to be hijacked on a religious agenda, right? So that we have to be very cautious how we look at the values. And Sai Baba has also addressed this issue. Basically, he says that the axiology of value, the origin of value, the source of values is love. Love as action is right conduct. Love as thought is truth. Love as feeling is peace. Love as understanding is nonviolence.
So perhaps that's the love that comes from God
Well,
humanity.
love is, divinity is love.
Yeah.
But we don't have to bring in, because the concept of God is so different. The word has been hackneyed. It has been used over and over and over in very many different concepts. But really, when you talk about divinity, you have to be very specific what you mean by that. Divinity is a state of our union, our soul, with everything around us.
Well, I attribute God as being the intelligent being that has created the whole universe and us.
Absolutely. It's an intelligent consciousness.
Yeah.
As they would say in quantum physics. Right?
But I don't believe that the nature is part of that. I believe that being is external to nature, to the existence of this world. That's what my belief.
I think that both are valid. Everything is valid, as if you believe in it, is valid. The question is, what is the ultimate truth? If the ultimate truth is non-dual, we say that God created this earth. That means that there is a separation between this creation, between God and the creation. It's just like a potter making something out of clay, right? There are two entities, God and creation. But if in the beginning was nothing but divine, then the divine created this creation out of its own being, right? So the universe is permeated with universal consciousness. Everything resonates with universal consciousness. It is the divine energy, divine consciousness in everything. An ant or an elephant or a human being or a tree. You take a look. Let me give you an example. How many chemical reactions are happening in your body at this moment in time with your knowledge?
Millions.
None, right? But there are millions of reactions happening and all very well coordinated.
Mm.
Where is the consciousness in a leaf to be able to capture the sunlight to produce food and to draw water from the roots and to draw the minerals from the roots and to manufacture starch? And where is the consciousness that in a seed can empower the soil to produce a flower or an apple or an orange? That is the divine power.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So
yep.
Everything is permeated with this divine consciousness. Everything. An ant, look at an ant. It's perfect in its construction. It moves perfectly. It has got all these reactions happening in it to give it life, but it is not aware. What intelligence is making an ant? It is the divine consciousness that is making the ant move. Right? I think to me, everything is divine. Everything is permeated with divine consciousness.
Yeah, I believe that the essence of everything is spiritual, is holy. Even the atoms.
Even the atoms, even the subatomic particles.
Subatomic particles, yeah.
You see, for example, in quantum physics, we know that if you have a particle, you give it a spin, you divide it into two, you separate them miles, they are able to communicate instantly with each other.
Yep.
The plants, if you are today in Australia, you go to America, you've been looking after the plant, something happens to your health, the plant will suffer. This has been shown experimentally. There's a connection between the plant and the love that you give and an information that it shares with you, even when you're on the other part of the world. There are mysteries that we don't understand. They're divine mysteries. It's a mystical universe. This is an enchanted universe.
Exactly. I like the fact that Sai Baba followers are doing similar things that the Baha'i is doing in a grassroots level. And that would eventually become a critical mass and unites the world together.
Certainly, we hope so. The Baha'is are doing a wonderful, wonderful job. And so is the Sai organization, and so are many other organizations.
Yes.
Professor, I just want to ask about your discovery of Satya Sai Baba. Were you looking for something, or how did you find him?
Oh, it's a long story.
You've got 10 minutes.
My background is a scientist and a medical scientist. I mean, I am a surgeon. I had a research lab at the same time. So I was supervising people doing their PhDs and things like that. And I was traveling from overseas country, and a man who came next to me, I had gone for a medical conference, sat next to me, and he told me about Sai Baba, and I didn't believe. I said that, he was up, cuckoo. I mean, he said that Sai Baba could raise people from the dead. He could cure people by touch. You know what Christ had done. And I didn't believe. I said, that is all mythology. And he said, you owe it to yourself to go and see Sai Baba. I came home. I told my wife, she's a scientist. She's a PhD. And she immediately resonated with that. And she said, I want to go and see him. I didn't feel that. She did. So she went first, and what she experienced, and then we read books written by people who were not, there was an Australian writer who wrote he wrote books, a reporter, a psychiatrist wrote a book, Holy Man and the Psychiatrist. Many other people wrote books. We read books. We were amazed. So we went and saw him. But that's how it happened. Somebody talked to us. We didn't believe. I didn't believe. My wife did. Her relatives did, even though they come from Muslim background. And we went there, and we were just amazed at what he was doing. And this is 1987, 88.
Thank you. That was a concise answer to potentially a very long question. And I'm glad you mentioned that book, because I've been racking my brains. I knew I'd read a book about 30 years ago.
There's a book written, Man of Miracles, an Australian book.
Oh, I was thinking The Holy Man and the Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist, yes. That was written by a psychiatrist.
American.
Yeah. If I could just ask a supplementary question based on what you just said. I mean, in your talk, you said he didn't found a new religion, but reminded us of the eternal truth. I'm just wondering if he saw himself and his followers see him as chosen by God with a special mission for this time.
He was a social reformer, and many people regarded him as divine being, as an avatar. There's a Hindu concept that when there's enough turmoil, then the divine, or those who have attained the status of divinity through their own purification, can take birth to salvage humanity again and lead them in the right direction. So many people believe that he wasn't such an avatar. We know, for example, like in Tibet, in the Mahayana Buddhist concept of bodhisattva taking a birth again. Saiba, the leader in Tibetan Buddhism will be born again.
Dalai Lama.
Dalai Lama will be born again. He knew about his previous birth. So Sai Baba knew about his previous birth, and he has also promised that he'll come again as take another form, and Prema Sai. So, there is a trilogy. He was born as Shirdi Sai, last century, 19th century. Satya Sai Baba, 20th century. And he'd be born again 21st century as Prema Sai. That's what he said.
Thank you. Sangra Pillai Sandanam.
Yeah, so this is not a question, it's just a comment or supplement to Ahmed's question to Dr. Paldal. Actually, the nature, the physical nature and the cosmic nature. If you are at full resonance with the physical nature or physical environment, you are at peace in the physical realm. And if you are in perfect consonance or resonance with the cosmic realm, then you are in total consciousness, which is resonating with your individual consciousness. That is what it is. And that time you realize who God is.
Thank you, Sandinam. Was there a question there as well?
I think he said he doesn't have a question, but
okay, that's a fair comment. Thank you, Vasantha.
Okay. Before I ask the question, I like to thank Sandy for introducing Professor. Sandy is the one who introduced me to the professor. So, Sandy, thank you very much. It was a very good presentation. My question is, what is the connection between Shirdi Sai Baba and Sai Baba? Is it possible to?
Shirdi Sai was his previous birth.
His previous birth.
His previous birth, yes.
Not that he is a disciple of Shirdi. Is it?
No. No, when he revealed his mission at the age of 14, his father asked him who is he? And he took a handful of flowers and threw them on the ground. And in Telugu, it wrote down, Shirdi Sai Baba. And he said, that's who I am. And in that remote village, nobody had heard of Shirdi Sai Baba.
Yeah. So the Shirdi Sai Baba and Sai Baba, they are from the same village or they are?
No. Shirdi Sai Baba was in Maharashtra. And Satya Sai Baba was born in Andhra Pradesh, in a very remote village.
Thank you very much. We visited Sai Baba in 2002-3 New Year Day. We were there. Just we visited Sai Baba at that time.
You went to Puttaparthi?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because we were in India, so we wanted to go and meet Sai Baba. So that New Year they have some special program, 31st night. So we visit. Thank you very much.
Now, I just want to invite anyone who hasn't asked a question who would like to. We may never, maybe a long time before we have such a distinguished and experienced representative of an important global faith.
One more thing. Dr. Narana Chandran gave us a presentation once before, but it is on some medical. Dr. Nanda Chandran is also a follower of Satya Sai Baba.
Yeah, and he does a lot of service, or used to do a lot of service.
He goes to Fiji, I think, every year.
In Fiji, yes.
Sarah, and then Robert.
I missed in the beginning. Potentially, you mentioned. Did you say that Sai Baba? Is it a religion?
No. I said many times it's not a religion. That he has not come to found a religion. He has come to revive all the religions, and he asks a Hindu to become a better Hindu, a Muslim to become a better Muslim, a Christian to become a better Christian, and a Jew to become a better Jew. So he's not founded a new religion. But human beings as they are, the risk is that there'll be a new religion which will come out of it. Hope not. But, just like Christ didn't start a new religion, other people started a new religion. Buddha didn't start a new religion. He revived the Vedas, but it started into a new religion. So I don't know. I think he was very clear that he did not come to establish a religion. He said that there are enough institutions and religions. All we need to do is to revive them.
So, I mean, this might also be my perception, but I think from what you said that most, the fundamental is around service to humanity in a way of using our spirituality to transform ourselves as well as society. But it could just be my perception, but are there followers that potentially worship him where it's based more on superstition and sometimes not on the action itself? And why do you think that might be?
Okay, I think that it's the human tendency to ritualize. When we have a paradigm shift, it is not easy to stay in the spirit of that paradigm shift, particularly if it requires continuous mindfulness. Biologically, we are made, our neural system is made to make everything into a habit. So when we learn something, if it becomes a habit, it's easy for us. Like when you learn to drive, it becomes automatic after a while. That is the way in which our mind works. So when we come across new information or new ways of behaving, we tend to ritualize it and forget. So we can't sustain mindfulness all the time. It is very effortful to be mindful of our actions because we have subconscious motives, conscious motives, leanings towards certain actions and behavior, which are automatically built in us, so that it is easy to ritualize things and not really to be living in that transforming consciousness where we are aware, where we are mindful of how we speak, how we conduct ourselves. And it is easy to drift into a ritual, into a habit. So when we have a worship or a ritual of a worship, which may have very deep meaning, but it becomes a ritual and it loses that. So when we talk about love, the word love is so powerful. It is so important. It's oneness. But we use the lips and the tongue and not the heart to experience love. So what he says is that we should be experiencing divinity, not talking about divinity, not ritualizing divinity, but living moment to moment in the divine presence and being aware that we are divine and being grateful for the opportunities that are presented. Even conflict opportunities are a signal to us that we need to transform.
Thank you. No, and every religion is prone to this.
Yeah, every religion will say that. And I think that what he says is that we have to revive that and not establish new rituals and new religions.
Yeah. Also, every religion is prone to ritualizing, I feel.
Well, human beings are.
Yeah.
It's not the fault of the religion. It is the fault of our physiological makeup, our biological makeup.
Thank you. Really
if you want to call it a fault, I mean, I wouldn't regard it as a fault. I think that's how we are built. But we need to really, we have the capacity to change, to transform, but it is effortful. It requires our mindfulness moment to moment, and that is not easy.
I think we have time for one more question from Robert.
And me too. Thank you. I want to ask about Caritas Project Compassion.
Wait, Yum, we'll see. We'll wait and see.
Provide water.
Robert, sorry, go ahead.
Not a question, but there was a book published in the 1980s about Sai Baba and the Baha'i faith. And everything was parallel in their teachings.
I think that would be very true. I am not sure. I've not read that book.
I've actually read the book, so I've actually seen it. The National Office used to have a copy in their library.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd love to read that.
Whether it's still there, I've no idea. But
well, you know, the thing is that goodness is goodness wherever it is.
Yes.
And positive, affirmative spiritual action is positive, affirmative spiritual action, no matter what its origin.
So Sai Baba visited the Baha'i temple in India before he, I think, not 1 year before he passed away. He was at the Baha'i temple in New Delhi.
It's a beautiful center. We have been there. It's a very beautiful center.
Sai Baba was there.
I think we've come to the end of the evening, and I must say that I'm very amazed at how Sai Baba movement has captured the essence of all the religions, and especially the idea that that love is the essence, and love translated into action, very systematically and in a learning and practical way. It's quite a revelation to learn about it. So I appreciate it. I'd like to thank you very much, Professor Paldal. It was an excellent presentation.